Hey everyone, my name is David Rao, and I'm the music teacher who blogs at makemomentsmatter.org. You can also find my ideas on Facebook, Pinterest, Patreon, Instagram, a variety of places when you search for my name, David Rao, or Make Moments Matter. Tonight, I'm going to be sharing about books that I use for Native American Heritage Month, which starts in November. Why am I talking about this now? Because I want you to have a chance to go out and get those books if you want them, to request them from your local library, to look for them online if you want to buy them. So that's why I'm talking about Native American Heritage Month books today. Plus, also it's Indigenous Peoples Day, so like the perfect connection. But I'm going to be going through a bunch of books and sharing just a really quick snippet about that book and how you might use it. In the past couple of years, I've shared in-depth ideas about a variety of books. So I'm going to talk about some of those, but also just sort of give a quick run through of a ton of books. I've got like a stack of books to go through and just share. Here's this cool book. Maybe you've heard of it, maybe not. Here's a quick synopsis or idea. And then I'm going to just turn you wild to go and find those and use them yourself. So if you want to check out these books, I'm going to share titles and names and authors and all of that, but also I have a link to an Amazon webpage where you can find all the books. Not that you should necessarily buy them from Amazon, but guess what? Amazon lists the publisher, the ISBN, the author, all of it. So if you want to go to Amazon and get all that identifying information and then run to your library or go to a local bookstore or whatever, you can do that. But it's easy. It's like Amazon to me is kind of like Pinterest. Like you can put all this stuff in one place. So I'm going to share it's called an ideas list with you. And then you can find all the information for all these books that I'm going to share in just a second. So if you want all that, it's on the links page on my blog, which you can find if you go to makemomentsmatter.org, or you can just click at the link of wherever you're watching or listening to this, and you should be able to go straight there. Okay, one more thing. If you are going to be in Northern Alberta on November 1st, I know that's not a lot of people, but if it's a specific group of people, I'm going to be presenting with the Alberta ORF chapter that's in Edmonton on November 1st. So if you're around, we would love for you to join us. Check out information at the Alberta ORF's website, and you can also find it on my website too if you're interested and you want to come along. Okay, so like I said, I have a lot of books for Native American Heritage Month, which starts in November, is officially in the month of November, but I think you could use these books anytime throughout the year. There's some with some really expansive themes, which are really fun and easy to use. Also, not all these books are exclusively Native American stories. Some of them are just Native North American Indigenous people. And I kind of did that on purpose because I mean, now our country recognizes the boundary between Canada and the United States and Mexico. But before that, the Native American tribes were all throughout North America, and those borders didn't really mean anything. It was their tribal borders and tribal areas anyway. So I think North American stories are great stories to share with students in North America now. If you hear one of these stories and you go, wait, that's an indigenous tribe from Canada, yes, or oh, this is a story from Mexico, yes. But I think that a lot of these stories can be kind of interwoven with the Native American Heritage Month if you're in the United States. Or also if you're in Canada and you want to focus on a Canadian story, there are some things there too. So, and there's one more I forgot. I got to pull out. Let me see if I can find it. Well, we'll get to it when we come to it. There's one more. Where did I put it? Well, there. Okay. Speaking of, I just thought about, oh yeah, wait, I have another book that I could totally pull out too for Canada. All right, anyway, so let me go through some of these books. And like I said, I'm going to just quickly go through because this is like a ton of books. And I'm going to share just basically the book, the title, the author, some themes and some things you could think about, and then some ideas. And like I said, there are many other videos in the past couple of years of these Musical Mondays videos if you want to go in more in depth. So the first book, and I think is a great one to start with, is called I Am Native. It's by Violet Duncan. There are 3 books I'm going to share about by Violet Duncan. I have talked about this in a previous year. I absolutely know because I've gone through and shared. But what I love about this book is it helps students who don't personally know any Native American other students or other Native Americans. It helps to make them feel more maybe real life to a kid who's never met a Native American person. Because I feel like when kids in the schools that I've worked at, when we've talked about Native Americans, they are seen more historically, like the Pilgrims and the Native Americans, or back in the olden days. But it's not, you know, they I feel like so many of my students have a hard time conceptualizing like Native Americans live and are with us right now. And unless you live near a place where there are, you know, is maybe you know, a large community of Native Americans, it's harder for students to conceptualize because there's such a push in American education for like Native Americans around Thanksgiving, and all they see are these historical pictures and depictions. And so this is a great book to sort of break through that wall and help them see Native Americans as like alive and vibrant in the culture right now. This book, I Am Native. I'm a dancer. I dance the jingle dress dance. My mom braids my hair in 2 braids. I dance to bring healing and happiness to the powwow with my family. And then it says, in Native cultures, boys grow their hair long. It's a sign of a warrior. And then over here it says, I am Native. I am a dancer. I dance in ballet class. My mom wraps my hair in a tight bun. In my dance class, I practice different ballet positions in my tutu. So 2 very different styles of dance, yet, you know, Native American kids experience both. There's an athlete where it compares hoop dancing with basketball. Here's a page about chef where it compares like traditional Native meals with like contemporary meals that you might find. An artist where, again, like traditional Native American artwork or traditional crafts type things, plus then also like what you might see in like a traditional you might see like in an art class in like a public school or something. So it helps compare and contrast so kids can see like Native Americans are people who are still alive and here and a vibrant part of our culture, and to sort of compare and contrast so they don't only get that idea of like Native Americans in a traditional depiction. So this is a great one to start with, I Am Native by Violet Duncan. Like I said, if you want to find any of these, they're on the links page with the names to the you can find them on that link to that Amazon page with like the title and the author and the ISBN and all that identifying information. In fact, I don't think you can buy this one from Amazon. I think you have to go to Violet's website, but I've linked that on the links page too. Okay, Walking Eagle, The Little Comanche Boy. This is by Anna Ulate, Eulate. And this one is, it talks about Walking Eagle, who, in like how his life and growing up and what that was like, telling stories without words. He didn't speak. He used his face, his hands, his smile, his eyes. I think this is a really cool book to talk about like nonverbal communication, and especially if you're having a lesson focused on movement. But the illustrations are really beautiful. It talks about the Comanche tribe. It talks about how they were from the plains and the Rocky Mountains. And it's just like a beautiful, with these amazing connections, talking about connections to animals, talking about connections to nature, and how he would tell stories in ways that he didn't use words. So like, how many cool connections and lessons could you get from that? So many. Let me see if I can find a page and just read you a page. Let's see one that would give you a good one. That whirlwind, that voice, that perfume. Yes, that's what it was. It was what inspired him to continue on his way, with just his horse and his stories, crossing territories, struggling to make different peoples hold hands and listen to what he had to say. Walking Eagle, the little Comanche boy who took tales to different tribes, spoke of togetherness, solidarity, joining hands, and overcoming fears. Through his vivid performances, he inspired his listeners with stories of warriors who laid down their spears and impressed them by silently imitating the howling of wolves, the flapping of wings on the earth and in the air, and majestic eagles who watch over us and guide us on our way. So a super cool book, especially cool if you're talking with students about finding movement or your body to tell stories. Okay, so that was Walking Eagle, the Little Comanche Boy by Anna Ulate, I think, Eulate. I'm not sure on the pronunciation of that name. This one, Thunderboy Jr. by Sherman Alexie, Alexie is the last name. I'll read just a couple pages. Hello, my name is Thunderboy. Thunderboy Smith. That's my real name. My dad gave it to me at birth. My mom wanted to name me Sam. Sam is a good name. Sam is a normal name. Thunderboy is not a normal name. There is nobody on earth with the same name as me. I'm the only Thunderboy who has ever lived, or so you would think. But I am named after my dad. He's Thunderboy Smith Sr., and I am Thunderboy Smith Jr. People call him Big Thunder. That nickname is a storm filling up the sky. People call me Little Thunder. That nickname makes me sound like a burp or a fart. Okay, so this is sort of fun. It goes through and talks about naming and why would you do that? Naming things and why he's named after his dad and how he's connected to that. And ultimately, he comes around being happy with his name. But I love that in this book that music is so much a part of it. They show dancing and drumming and powwows and just so many really cool connections. But then ultimately how he's connected to his family. Okay, so that's Thunderboy Jr. Definitely one to check out. That is by Sherman Alexie, Alexie. This one is called She Sang Promise, the story of Betty Mae Jumper, Seminole tribe leader. It's by Jan Godwin Anino. The last name is Godowyn and then Annino. Okay, so this is one that has a lot of text and a lot of story. And so this is one that I don't know that I would use for like lessons in that, like, I don't think I would go through and read all of the story because it is very long. It might be one that you read just parts of every week or just summarize or use for the pictures or the storytelling. The summary says, when Betty Mae Jumper was born in the wild heart of Florida, a child of the Seminole tribe, she sang promise in her cry. She grew up surrounded by the sing-song legends of the past, the stories of her people. Determined Betty Mae respected these songs, and she learned and grew. Storyteller, alligator wrestler, nurse, Betty Mae Jumper sang her own story. And when Betty Mae Jumper became one of the first women elected tribal leader in the modern times, she became a voice for her people. With respect for her past, she sang a vision for the future. She sang promise. So yes, she was like an iconic leader and really moved things forward, but also she was literally singing. This is not like figurative. It means like she was actually singing and storytelling. So it's cool if you want to talk about like storytelling and singing and using music. So that is She Sang Promise by Jan Godwin Anino. Okay, moving fast because there are a lot of books. So all you should check out and consider and read for yourself. So go to your local library and pull them up. We Belong, well, some of them are not available at your local library probably, but you should get them. We Belong to the Drum. This is by Sandra Lamouche, Lamouche. Actually, maybe that's a French word and I'm saying it wrong. But look, you open the page and there's so many drums. Oh, okay. Sorry, where's my okay. Nikosis had begun listening to the drum before he was born. Ba-boom, 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 ba-boom. Okama says this is the first sound we hear, our mother's heartbeat. Nikosi spent his first summer on Mother Earth traveling to many powwows. As Nikosis grew, he learned to love the movement and music of powwow. Okawia loved to dance. Otawia loved to sing and drum. The drum made Nikosis want to dance. I'm assuming I'm pronouncing these wrong. It's been a long time since I looked at the pronunciation guide and I'm going through a lot really quickly. So I would say find the pronunciation and check it before you read these with your kids. Sorry. The drum made him want to sing. Way-ya, hey-ya, ho. So there's so many just like beautiful connections to powwow dancing and, sorry, not powwow dancing, but powwows and dancing and drumming. And he brings the drum to his school to share with his non-Native American classmates about what the drum means and how important it is. So it's a kind of cool one about taking your culture and sharing it with others, or taking this idea and sharing it. And how perfect would it be to share with students who don't have a connection to Native American culture, as this can be like that little boy taking his story. This can be that story. We Belong to the Drum by Sandra Lamouche, Lamouche. Okay, Fiddle Dancer by Ann Patton and Wilfred Burton. This is one about another one that has a lot of story. Like if you look at it like, holy smokes, There's a lot of words on the page. It actually is both in English and then in, oh gosh, which tribal language is this? I can't remember off the top of my head. So this is from Saskatchewan. So it's a Canadian tribe. And I don't remember which tribe. Pulling it off the shelf, I don't remember exactly. I could look. Michif, Michif, because in the back there's a CD where you have English narration and then also the narration in the tribal language. So this talks about a boy and his desire to be a dancer and join in like the tribal dances and the whole story that takes him there, and the jig dancing that they do and how he learns how to do it. It's a super, super cool book, but it does have a lot of story. And so I would say this might be one that you might portion out over time. Maybe you do a recorded read aloud that you share with students in their own classroom, or maybe you do take the time to read it all. I don't know. It depends on what you want to focus on, and how you want to connect that in your classroom. So this Fiddle Dancer by Ann Patton and Wilfred Burton, and comes with the CD if you want some extras in there. Speaking of dance, let's go from Canada further south to Mexico. This one's called Danza by Duncan Tonatiuh, Tonatuih. So this is about Amelia Hernandez, and I love the art in this one. It just reminds me of, I don't know, just so much cool folk art that I've seen over the years. But it talks about this little girl and how she, well, the blurb says she saw a pair of dancers in the town square. The way they stomped and swayed to the rhythm and the music inspired her. She knew one day she would become a dancer, so she studied ballet and modern dance, but she would not forget the folk dance she did. And so eventually she found her own folk dance group to sort of bridge the world of modern dance and folk dance and bring it to maybe the forefront, and help sort of spread this idea of folk dance. So they were meant to be performances not just for like tribal purposes or like cultural purposes, but they're meant to be more performative. So another cool dance that brings in so many cool cultural elements, but also like talks about bridging the divide between what is like traditional dance and what is like performative dance or art dance. And another cool connection if you're wanting to connect to Native cultures and you want to talk about Native cultures of Mexico or greater North America and not just the United States or Canada. Okay, another dance. There are so many cool dance ones. This one's called Finding My Dance by Rhea Thundercloud. This is another one that centers around the powwow, and this girl, oh, I skipped too many pages, sorry. So connections to Native American dancing and like jingle dancing and powwow dancing, and basically her story into the dancing and how that happened. It gives a really, really, really great connection and understanding about what powwow dancing is like. And then it also connects to like modern dance, contemporary dance, and how she had to sort of straddle the line between both worlds. So like ballet and maybe like Western dance traditions, and then also powwow and Native traditions too. But a very, very, very cool story. Along those lines, hold on, I have another one similar if you want to have another story. I have two here about another dancer who ventured into like Western dance. So there's about Maria Tallchief, who was the first Native American prima ballerina in North America. Two books. One is called Maria Tallchief. This one is not really story. It's just like pictures and little snippets and like, I don't know. It's like someone took a fact sheet about Maria Tallchief and then just like paired it with photos and stuff. It is a cool book, but maybe not as much narrative as this one, Tallchief, America's prima ballerina. And this is more the story of her life and how she became a dancer, and how her life progressed and how it changed over time. So this is really more of a narrative about Maria Tallchief. Okay, continuing on. This one's called Jingle Dancer. This one is by Cynthia Leitich Smith. Leitich is that last name, that surname. So this one I love. I've used for years. It's about a girl who wants to be a jingle dancer, but she knows she has to get like the actual jingles for her dress. Um, and they can't order them because they just don't have enough time because the dance is coming up so fast. But she's really inspired. She wants to do it. She wants to be a part of it. And so she goes to other people in her community and asks them if she can borrow a jingle or two or get a jingle or two. And she gets enough from their dresses to make her own dress. It's a really, really sweet story. And it's like this girl who just wants to be a part of this. And hold on, let me see if I can find the iconic photo at the end of her actually dancing the jingle dance. Where's the cool picture? Yeah, there. And it's all the people who helped make the dress, donate things to her dress, and make the dress happen, because the jingles are actually like literally sewn into the dress. So this is a cool story about that. Jingle Dancer by Cynthia Leitich Smith. And two more, three more, several more dancers. Hold on. Okay, there's Simone in the dance contest. This is another one from our friends in the to the north. It's about jig dancing and how little boy Simone wants to be a jig dancer and like how he prepares and practices. I've talked about this one before, so if you want to go back to the Musical Monday video about that and see more of the story, you absolutely can. And I think I even have a couple jig dances that I connected and put in links back then. This is a super cool story, one that I love to leave. Actually, I've left that for a sub a couple times. Two more by Violet Duncan. This one's called Let's Hoop Dance. I love using this one every year, about her son and how he learns to hoop dance. My students like seeing this because they see the hoops. It reminds them of hula hoops. And even though it's not that kind of exact thing, like they like the idea of like, here are all the cool things you can do with the hula hoops. So they make the connection to like, here's this cool object and what are the cool things we can do with it. And then we take this lesson and we use it and we talk about, like we grab scarves and we like say like, what could these become? Kind of like the hoops represent this for this tribe, or like this or this, and they use the hoops to represent those things. So we use this sort of as an inspiration, like what can we do where we take an object and use it to represent something else. But we, along the way in the story, you see how and why they do all of this, and then you get to see a connection to him and his dad. And but the story is really great about laying out all the reasons, like how do they use the hoops, why do they use the hoops, what is the meaning behind that. It's a really, really cool book. And you can find videos of Violet Duncan's husband, who is in the book, like his pictures in the book. You can find pictures or videos of him actually dancing hoop dances, which is a super great connection to show kids when you're done. Then there's this one, another one by Violet Duncan called When We Dance. And this again talks about like the significance of Native American dance. Why do they dance? What do they do to dance? What's the point of it? They talk about like the healing aspect and the cultural aspect and the connections and like why they dance. Of the three Violet Duncan books that I've shown you, this is one that is really great for context, but I haven't gotten as many lesson ideas out of, but it's a really great book. And if you're buying the other two from her website, get that one too. It has so many cool pictures and great backstory. The other two are a little bit more narrative driven. There's this one called Night Dancer. This one's about, if you can tell from the picture on the front, about the Kokopelli. This is by Marcia Vaughn, Vaughan. And so this is about the Kokopelli and like the legend of the Kokopelli, which is like, I want to say in the Southwest in the United States, tribes that were there, like the Rio Grande and like further into, like you see the Kokopelli a lot when you visit, I mean, what am I, like Utah, New Mexico, things like that. And so the Kokopelli is not just one tribe. I feel like it's been around with a lot of different tribes. It shows up in different storytelling, but this is a really cool version where he lifts his flute and he pipes a tune, and then there's this song that comes back. Come dance, come dance, come dance with me, stepping and stamping joyously, like the stars in the wind, happy and free. Who will dance the night away with me? And so a coyote comes down and dances with him, and then a snake follows the coyote, and a turtle follows the snake. And by the time they're done, there are these native to the area animals that come and dance with the Kokopelli. And it gives a little bit more of the story and the history and the legend of the Kokopelli, which is kind of cool. So this is Come Dance With Me, or sorry, Night Dancer by Marcia Vaughn, the mythical piper of the Native American Southwest. And two more. Okay, Powwow Day. This is one by Tracy Sorrell, Sorell. Love this one too. This one's about a little girl who really wants to dance in the powwow, but can't. She's sickly. It doesn't say exactly what's going on, but she's going through medical treatments and just can't, doesn't have the strength, doesn't have the energy to go and dance, but they still go. It talks about how the dancing can be healing and restorative, and why do they dance these dances. It gives a lot of really great tradition. It gives a lot of, talks about the tradition, gives a lot of good context. It's super cool for younger kids because the pictures are just so beautiful, and kids connect with the little girl on the side. Like, they see from her perspective what she's seeing and experiencing. They hear as if they're also the ones on the sidelines learning, listening. So this is like a great one to give context to kids. And just a really beautiful story. This is Powwow Day by Tracy Sorrell. And then one last story, and there's one more again from our friends up north. It's called Fishing with Grandma by Susan Avinkok and Marin Vatsula. The first last name is Avingaq, and the Marin's last name is Vsetula. Like I said, these are linked on the links page if you want to go find them. And this is about kids and wanting to go jigging for fish, and what they learn from their grandma, like what are the traditional things they need to do. They go out onto the ice, they go out and they go sledding, or sled dogs come by and they see all these cool connections to ice fishing. Why do they do it? How do they do it? It gives these really great explanations. Again, as if you're the one going out on the ice with them. It doesn't have a musical connection. It doesn't have a dance connection. Why do I use it? It's a beautiful story about like learning from your grandparents, learning from your elders. And I use this and then pair like, how many songs do we have about fishing, or how many songs do we have about fish or animals or ocean? I feel like you can pair any ocean or animal story with this, or stories about grandparents with this. And this is just a beautiful, beautiful book that kids love to read and see. And then you can make any sort of ocean or water or fish connection that you want. It doesn't have to be thematic in the story, but this is a great story that acts as an anchor for your lesson. Okay, so there's a bunch of stories here. How many did I go through? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, like 17-ish. All these books are on the links page. There's a link to find them on that Amazon wish list. Like I said, you don't have to buy from Amazon, but go there because it's like Pinterest. You can find all of the books. You can get the ISBN. You can get the author information, the publisher information. Go track them down. But it's a super cool way to keep all that information in one place, even if you don't buy from Amazon. So all these books are great. Native American Heritage Month starts in November 1st. You have plenty of time to go out and find these books now. Plus also it's Indigenous Peoples Day. What a great day to go through and celebrate and pull out some books. This is not an exhaustive list. There are many, many more. But if you see other books that are not on my Amazon list, if you go and look, please email me and let me know, like, hey, there's this other book that's really great. You should add, because I'm always looking for more books to include in my classroom library. All right, I hope this gave you some ideas. I hope this gives you some time to go out and find those books. And like I said, reach out if you have other book suggestions. I'd love to add them to my list. All right, have a great night, everyone.